Here we see the bounce technique being performed by an elite player running with the ball. Note the position of the head, hands and feet. Now let's look at each of the key teaching points for the bounce. Hold the ball with both hands. Head down, eyes on the ball. Release the ball into one hand, spreading the fingers behind the ball. Extend the arm, pushing the ball into the ground with the bouncing hand. Extend both arms towards the ball as it returns into the hands. Spread the fingers of both hands to create a W shape and cushion the ball into the hands. Hold the ball securely with both hands and bring it into the body. This is a basic drill to practice the bounce technique in a stationary position. Divide the group into pairs, 1 football per pair. Each player, in turn, bounces and catches the ball and hands it to their partner. Alternatively, 1 player in each pair bounces the ball repeatedly for 1 minute, catching the ball securely after each bounce. The second player in each pair counts the successful attempts by their partner. Players switch play after 1 minute. As the players become more proficient, they bounce the ball at an angle for their partner to catch. This is a basic drill to practice the bounce technique while moving at walking pace. Form lines of 4 players 8 to 10 meters apart. Place a marker halfway between each line. The player in possession walks forward 4 steps before bouncing the ball and catching it again. The player then walks on and hands the ball to the next player, who repeats the drill. Each player in turn moves to the back of the opposite line. As the players become more proficient, get them to perform the drill while jogging and then to bounce the ball at an angle for their partner to catch. This intermediate level drill requires each player to perform the bounce while moving at walking pace. Ensure each player has a ball and has enough room to perform the bounce technique. The players practice bouncing the ball with 1 hand and catching with 2. Once proficient, challenge them to dribble the ball by continuously bouncing it. Increase the difficulty of the drill by challenging them to bounce and catch and dribble while jogging and turning. This intermediate level drill to practice the bounce technique requires the players to bounce the ball using both left and right hands alternately. Place 4 poles or cones in a line at 2 to 3 meter intervals. Line up the players before the first pole. The first player in the line runs out, bouncing the ball, rounding each pole on the way out and on the way back. The player should use his outside hand to bounce the ball while rounding each pole. This will mean using left and right hands alternately for each bounce. Each successive player repeats the drill. This is an intermediate drill to practice the bounce technique. Set up 4 cones in a square formation approximately 4 to 5 meters apart. Position 1 player, ball in hand, at each cone. The players move to perform the bounce technique as they turn around each of the cones. Encourage them to use the left hand to bounce the ball when turning to the right around a cone, and to use the right hand to bounce when turning to the left around a cone. The players must be aware of each other to avoid knocking into one another as they cross to each cone. This grid game emphasises the development of control, accuracy and speed. Mark out a grid 20 metres by 20 metres. Place hoops on the ground at various points within the grid. On the whistle, each player lifts the ball and moves around the grid in different directions, bouncing the ball after every 4 steps. Players must attempt to bounce the ball in as many hoops as possible in 1 minute. The ball should not be bounced in the same hoop twice in succession. The player who bounces the ball in the greatest number of hoops wins. This grid game introduces a level of competition, as each player must perform the bounce while under pressure from an opponent. Mark out a grid 20 metres by 20 metres. Divide the players into 2 equal teams. One team starts inside the grid, with each player having a ball. On the whistle, each player lifts the ball and moves around the grid in different directions, bouncing the ball after every 4 steps. After 1 minute, whistle for Team 2 to enter the grid. Each member of Team 2 attempts to dispossess a member of Team 1. Switch the roles after a further minute. The team who keeps possession for the longest time wins. Bouncing the ball with 2 hands is a common error when learning the bounce technique. This may lead to difficulty performing the technique while running. To correct this error, ensure that the ball is transferred from both hands to the bouncing hand just prior to the bounce. Bouncing the ball too soft or too hard is another common error, which may result in the ball not returning from the ground properly. To correct this error, extend the fingers behind the ball to aid control and push through the ball to ensure adequate force is applied. Attempting to catch the ball with 1 hand is a common error. This may result in the player failing to catch or fumbling the ball. To correct this error, ensure that both arms are extended towards the ball as it returns, spreading the fingers of both hands to secure possession. Hold the ball securely with both hands and bring into the body.